The DNDC removal and other NDC removals is probably the biggest set of changes that most of our customers will have to be dealing with. Rosine, feel free to jump in anywhere here where you think there's something that we can clarify as we're going through this. And please make sure you're asking those questions in the chat, because this is going to be obviously the biggest set of changes. It'll change where you're entering mail if you were drop shipping before. If your local post office was an NDC and you were getting a DNDC discount, it'll change there. And then there's a couple of exceptions where NDC is not removed. So just to start at the top and work our way down, the biggest change that you will see is that all of our postage statements no longer have the DNDC lines. That means if you were drop shipping to a DNDC, you used to get that work share discount of those pallets that were sorted to that NDC service area. You get a little bit of a better price there. You can no longer drop ship any mail at the DNDC level across the board, right? That's a full stop. No longer enter it at a DNDC level. NDC pallets and sacks where they were applicable. The major set of changes there is going to be in marketing mail. They had pallet levels that moved all the way up through NDC. Those have all been removed, except, you see a little asterisk after that bullet point, except in the case of marketing mail parcels. Those still have an NDC level and a mixed NDC level. Those are planned to be removed starting in January of 2026. The mixed NDC pallets and sacks have been removed and changed to a mixed level. That shouldn't change a whole lot on what you folks see coming out of the software, except that those pallet labels have been changed, and we're no longer using a label list to label those, right? So anything that was a mixed NDC pallet or a mixed NDC sack should now be called just a mixed, and it won't reference the entry point where that is going to be sorted to anymore. And we can get into that if people have questions there, but make sure you're reading your release notes when you get your software releases. Any products that had NDC rates themselves has been removed. That's, for example, like in Parcel Select had an NDC rate that also allowed drop shipping to NDCs. That's been removed, again, except in the case of marketing mail parcels. The big question mark that we have in this area is, what will the post office be doing for mail that's already been created, that's already in production, may even be moving around the country already, that was sorted with NDCs and NDC or DNDC entry points? The full answer there is that we don't know for sure, because they're still working on an official communication. But in the conversations that we have had with the post office, they are proposing to allow some grace period where if the pallet is still labeled as NDC, or it was scheduled to be drop shipped to a facility that would have previously got the DNDC discount, they will still allow that for some amount of time. We don't know how long, and we don't have that officially in writing yet, but we'll be watching for that and making sure it's communicated to you. Obviously, if you are entering mail that has a drop ship or mailing date after July 13th, you will be getting the new rates for those, even if they are marked for that NDC rate or the DNDC discount. But the point there is that the post office will still accept it as sorted. And again, there's a lot of open questions there, but we'll let you know as soon as we've got something in writing. I guess real quick, Rosine, is there anything there that you can see that we should swing back to or answer? Because that is the big one.
Right. So like you said, if your verification facility is an NDC, can you still drop it there even though you don't get a discount anymore?
Yeah, so if your origin entry point is still is an NDC and has been an NDC, your origin should not be changing. For sure, if the post office in your communications with them and setting up your origin facility tells you to change it, then yes. But just because of this, your origin facilities should not be changing.
And will you still be able to drop ship even though you don't get the discount?
Once the grace period is ended, no, you will not. You will not be able to drop ship to a DNDC facility. Those facilities, if you use the mail direction file directly, or you're using BCC software to do that, you will see a couple of different things. If you're looking at FAST, you will see something different, right? So for the post office's data, whether it's through FAST or through the mail direction file, you will still see those facilities there. But you will also see a notification on FAST that those should not be used for anything to gain an NDC discount. If you're looking at the mail direction file, the The messaging from the post office has been that they need to leave those in for systems until they can update their systems. And for an exceptional case for folks that have a parcel select NSA, and it includes those NDCs, they will need to continue to have that populated in the mail direction file. But based on the DMM language, nobody should be taking their mail to those facilities for that discount. Now, you may still take your mail to an NDC facility, but it would be for like something like a DSCF discount, right? The facilities themselves are not gone, and the post office may still be directing mail to them. But if it was solely directed to that facility for the purposes of an NDC discount, then it won't be happening after January or the July 13th anymore.
Okay.
Go to the next one. Like I said, make sure you're keeping those or keep entering those questions in chat, and we'll circle back to as many of those as we can once we get through this. All right, another big one that we've got coming at us is the first class mail SCF pallet discount. This is for anything on an SCF pallet or better or equivalent for first class mail for flats and letters. In the DMM, you see a number of pallet levels that will apply here. The ADC and AADC are roughly equal, as well as the origin SCF pallet, kind of all are on the same level as that SCF pallet. So all of those will qualify for the discount. And the 5-digit pallets, which are more finely sorted, will also qualify for the discount. Basically, what the goal is for the post office is that they're going to incentivize customers to make more finely sorted pallets than previously. They'll get a little bit of a benefit for sorting mail to a pallet that the post office can just pick up when it gets dropped off to them, cross-dock it to the facility where it will be processed, and then break it apart there. Anything above that, they have to do an extra touch point on, and that causes extra work for them. So they're trying to incentivize more movement through the network without having to touch it at its origin. The other major thing here that we didn't get answers on until pretty late in the game was how would these apply to CSA pallets? Not all of the BCC software products cover CSAs, but for the ones that do, you'll see this there. And then also when you're uploading jobs that have CSAs to Postal One, anything that has a local, a surface, or an air separation should qualify for that SCF discount. If it's mixed or the single piece level, those will not qualify for the discount.